What's going on, guys? This is Paladin CCG here, and in this video I'm gonna be doing another deck builder, but this time it shall not be Paladin, it would be a priest deck builder. And I've played about 15 games with this um, deck, and probably won 85 to 90% of this game. That's why I've kept the name as 90. You may see there. um, let's go to my collection, and this is basically the deck. First off, we've got the Circle of Healing, which is absolutely essential for every priest deck out there. This can be used either for having damage, for dealing damage, or healing of some minions. um, dealing damage is obviously because we've got the Soul Priest, your cards and parts that restore health now deal damage instead. So that's pretty decent, since this card is 0 mana cost, and we could potentially deal 4 damage to each and every minion on the uh, board, and then we could start up a new board control stuff. We've got Light of the Naru. This is essential because priest decks are mainly known for healing type of minions and healing spells and stuff like that. So this heals uh, any minion or the hero itself. And if at all the minion or the hero is still damaged, it summons a Light Warden. Light Warden is one of the greatest cards in in the priest class itself, because you could heal anything after that, and you could gain attack boost. So that's a pretty decent card. Um, 2 of Power Word Shield. This is a pretty basic upper class. Mid range actually, not upper class. Mid range deck, since it's got many basic cards, many commons, um, a little bit of rare and epics, and just one legend that you may be seeing Dr. Boom there. So yeah, we'll check him out later. Power Shield, give a minion +2 health, decent, and draw a card, which is pretty obviously just OP. So yep. Notchai Cleric is pretty decent, since this minion is the main cause the deck was made. This and um, obviously Light Warden, which is pretty decent. You should actually keep both of the Light of the Narus, both of the spell cards till the end, since your hero may be damaged till the end. So yep, you should do that. Nordshire Cleric is a pretty decent card, and yes, it's not basically for dealing damage or stuff like that. It's just for card draws and basically getting many minions and getting the board control to yourself. Shadow Word Death. This card is one of the most hated cards in Arena, because this card in the second position is Big Game Hunter, since legendary minions and stuff like that, the big hitters who've got an attack of 5 or more cannot even attack. You don't give them a chance to attack, because this just destroys the minion. So yep, that's a great card in a priest deck. Thought Steal. Now you could use Thought Steal. You could just use Mind Vision for 1 mana cost, but I've gone for Thought Steal because I don't think so. Just we need a random card, because 2 cards from your opponent's deck is quite decent. Just 1 card at random reduces your chances for getting a decent card from your opponent's deck. And Mind Vision has a disadvantage. Obviously, it's got just 1 card, but it's 1 mana, so yep, that's decent. But put a copy of a random card in your opponent's hand into your hand. So if at all my opponent has just the 1 card and it's pretty decent or average-ish, I'll get that card only. But Thought Steal steals up two cards at a stretch from your opponent's deck, the whole deck. So yeah, decent. Valence chosen. Now you could use Valence chosen to boost up some other minions, or you could go straight up minions, more minions actually, and get Light Warden. I've got that. Yep. Valence chosen is a common card, and you could get it pretty easily. You could craft it, or you could get it pretty easily. Light Warden is quite crafting requires 200 dust. So yep, that's not that bad. But if at all you've got no dusts, so or a few amount of dust, you could just go for Valence chosen, cause it requires just 80 dust, and you could get um a minion. You could give a minion +2 attack and +4 health and spell damage by 1. So yep, that's pretty decent. Death Lord. Now this card is the only card in this deck because of which I've lost the games whichever I've lost, since this card can be pretty lucky or can be pretty unlucky. This card for 3 mana cost, 2 attack, that's not that great. 8 health and taunt. This card looks pretty decent until and unless you see the text written on this card. So Death Rattle, your opponent puts a minion from their deck into the battlefield, which is pretty bad for you because sometimes there. I mean, I've lost 3 games in the last 15 games, and in the 3 games, 2 of the times, this Death Lord, after getting defeated by my opponent, um, summons Doctor Boom for my opponent, and for once, it was what was it? Temple Enforcer. Yep, and which is pretty bad for us, cause I mean, a 3 mana cost minion for us has summoned a 6 or maybe a 7 mana cost minion for our opponent, which is kinda losing the board control. So yeah. Another thing is this guy. This guy is one of the greatest 3 mana cost cards. You should get this card. It's a rare. It'll take 200 dust to craft this card, or else you could get it from packs. This is a pretty decent card. Now, why is it decent? You may be thinking that this is a 3 mana cost, 4 attack, and obviously 3 health because it deals 4 damage to himself at the start of your turn. But this 4 damage could be easily healed since this is in a priest deck. So essentially, you get is a 3 mana cost, 4 health, 4 attack, and a 7 health creature, which is pretty brilliant in this deck. Soul Priest. This minion can have more combos than any other minion in this deck. You could combo, or you could have a combo with each and every spell, and also with the hero power, since it heals 2. You could just damage 2 to your opponent's hero or any other opponent enemy minions and stuff like that. So this card is the go-to card for this deck, along with Nodsha Cleric, and um, one card is forthcoming. So yeah, you could see that. Holy Nova. Now this is a pretty bad combination with the Soul Priest, because it does not restore 2 health to all your friendly creatures. Since it's Soul Priest, it just deals damage to each and every creature. 2 damage to each and every creature. So you should basically not use Soul Priest with Holy Nova. But Holy Nova is pretty decent. I mean, it just deals 2 damage to all your enemy, including the taunt creatures, including any other minions, obviously, and including the enemy hero. And you restore 2 health to all your friendly creatures, including the hero. Okay, this is a pretty decent card. Entomb. This sometimes is useless actually, because I've encountered some decks which don't have that great creatures right now, but I've just got the single card in my deck, so either I use it, either not. Um, there's not that this is not that great card, but this can be quite lucky when you come up against mage decks which have um, some dragons, decent legendary dragons. You could just get that dragon into your deck, and which is pretty decent. So yep, this is also a pretty decent card. Light bomb. This is the biggest beast of this card in the deck um because of this card I've won so many matches because of this card, and cards such as Thought Steal also sometimes can win matches. So Light Bomb is a pretty decent card since our deck focuses on minions which have high health and not the great attack. This card can be quite useful for your enemy minions. You could just deal damage to each minion equal to its attack, so that's pretty damn sick if a minion has buffed up his attack to maybe greater than 5 obviously, and the health is pretty low, so you could just go for the light bomb and get rid of that enemy. Another thing is Cabal Shadow Priest. I've just kept one of this card because I actually previously I had two of these cards and Temple Enforcers, but I did not have Dr. Boom. Then I got Dr. Boom because yeah, the best legendary in my opinion, and I got rid of one Cabal Shadow Priest. Now this is a pretty end game or maybe a mid game card since it take controls of an enemy minion that has 2 or less attack. Sometimes my opponent can buff up Death Lord's health since my opponent, if is a priest or something like that who could have spells which buff up the health of a minion, could do that. So I could just take away the Death Lord to my side with the Cabal Shadow Priest, which is unbelievable to gain board control, and your opponent also knows that he's probably lost the game. So yep, sometimes this can win games. Another thing is Temple Enforcer. Just 6 mana creature, 6 health and 6 damage or 6 attack is a pretty decent, but it's also got a catch. Give a friendly minion plus 3 health, so that's pretty decent since this is a full board of health minions. That could be quite useful. And the last card, which is the brilliant, the most, I mean, the most amazing card in this game, Dr. Boom, summons 2/1/1 boom bots. Warning, bots may explode. 7 mana cost, 7/7. Not that great of 7 mana cost, but since it summons 2/1/1 boom bots, this card makes it pretty decent. And yep, this is basically the deck. You should check this deck out. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll be doing more of these videos, deck builders and stuff like that. Leave a comment in the comment section for your suggestions, and thanks guys for watching, and I hope to see you next time.